The giant silver ship hung in the sky above Seoul like a shiny coin. It had been 3 days since the Ardoxian ship first appeared, and today was the day they would finally meet humans face to face. Dr. Jae-ho Kim fixed his tie and took a deep breath. As head of Earth's First Contact Division, he had trained for this moment for years, but nothing could truly prepare him for meeting real aliens. "The transport ship is landing, sir," said Sunmi Park, his assistant. She handed him a tablet with the latest reports. "Our sensors say they're bringing 5 representatives." Jae-ho nodded and walked to the landing area. The small silver pod touched down softly on the concrete pad, barely making the sound. A door slid open, and out stepped the aliens. Commander Clickstar was tall and thin with pale blue skin. 4 arms extended from his torso, and his large eyes blinked sideways. Behind him came 4 other Ardoxians, each carrying strange devices that beeped and flashed. "Welcome to Earth," said Jae-ho with a small bow. "I am Dr. Jae-ho Kim." The alien commander raised his upper right hand in greeting. "I am Commander Clickstar of the Ardoxian Science Fleet. We come in peace and curiosity." His voice had an odd echo, coming from the translator device on his chest. "We are honored by your visit," said Jae-ho. "Please, follow me to our meeting room where we can talk more comfortably." As they walked, one of the aliens moved closer to Jae-ho. "I am Snexel, chief cynobiologist," she said. Her skin was a lighter blue, and she had markings around her eyes. "I have been studying your species from orbit. You are most fascinating." "Thank you," said Jae-ho. "We find your people fascinating as well." Once inside the building, they sat around a large table. Screens showed images of both worlds, and translators hummed softly. Commander Clickstar placed a small device on the table. It projected a hologram showing pictures from Earth, cities, forests, oceans, and then, unexpectedly, a woman walking a dog. "In our research," said the commander, "we have discovered something we do not understand." He pointed at the dog in the image. "These smaller creatures that live in your dwellings, they are not human, yet you keep them close. Are they slaves? Workers? Food sources?" Sunmei tried not to smile as she saw Jae-ho's face. He loved his golden retriever more than most people. "They are what we call pets," explained Jae-ho. "Companion animals. They live with us by choice, and we care for them. They provide companionship, emotional support, and friendship." The aliens looked at each other in confusion. Snexel made quick notes on her device. "You form emotional bonds with other species?" asked Commander Clickstar. "This is unusual. In our studies of intelligent life, this is the first time we've seen this behavior." "It's very common on Earth," said Sunme. "Many humans have pets. Different kinds too. Dogs, cats, birds, fish, and more." The commander leaned forward. "And these creatures serve no practical purpose. They do not provide labor or resources. Some did originally," said Jae-ho. "Dogs helped us hunt thousands of years ago. Cats kept pests away from our food. But now most pets are simply part of our families because we enjoy their company." Snexel seemed excited. "Fascinating. A mutual symbiotic relationship based on emotional connection rather than survival necessity." Commander Clickstar still looked confused. "I would like to observe this phenomenon, to understand it better." Jae-ho smiled. "I have a dog at home. His name is Buddy. Would you like to meet him?" "Yes," said the commander. "Our mission is to learn about humans. This seems important to understanding your species." As they finished the meeting and made plans for the next day's visit, Jae-ho couldn't help but wonder how the aliens would react to Buddy's enthusiastic greetings. If they thought the concept of pets was strange, wait until they experienced one in person. Little did he know, dogs would be just the beginning of the aliens' confusion about Earth's companion animals. Jae-ho lived in a small house with a yard on the outskirts of Seoul. As the alien transport pod landed on his driveway, he felt nervous. No alien had ever visited his home before. "I hope Buddy doesn't get too excited," he told Sun Mai, who had arrived early to help prepare. "Buddy will be Buddy," she said with a smile. "That's the point, isn't it? To show them what pets are really like." When the aliens stepped out of their pod, Jeho greeted them with a small bow. "Welcome to my home." Commander Clickstar and Znexel looked around with great interest. The other 3 aliens stayed behind in the pod, monitoring equipment. "Your dwelling is smaller than expected for someone of your status," said the commander. "I like simple things," replied Jeho. "And Buddy needs space to run." As if hearing his name, a loud bark came from inside the house. Znexel jumped back, her 4 hands reaching for instruments. "That's just Buddy," said Jeho, opening the front door. "He's saying hello." A golden retriever burst through the doorway, tail wagging wildly. He ran straight to Jeho, jumping up to put his paws on his owner's chest. "Down, Buddy," said Jeho with a laugh, patting the dog's head. "We have guests." The aliens watched in fascination. Commander Clickstar stepped back, but Znexel moved closer, her scanner humming. "The creature shows obvious signs of excitement at your presence," she said. "Our scans indicate elevated heart rate and increased dopamine production." "That means he's happy to see me," said Jeho. "Buddy, say hello to our visitors." The dog turned to look at the aliens, his head tilted to one side. After a moment of consideration, he trotted over to Znexel and sniffed at her hand. "What is it doing?" asked the xenobiologist, holding very still. "He's getting to know you," explained Sun Mai. "Dogs learn about the world through smell." Buddy wagged his tail and looked up at Znexel with friendly eyes. After a moment of hesitation, she reached down with one blue hand and touched his head. "The fur is softer than I expected," she said. Jeho invited everyone inside. They sat in the living room while Buddy settled at Jeho's feet, occasionally looking up at the strange visitors. "How long have you kept this animal?" asked Commander Clickstar. 8 years, said Jeho. "I got him when he was a puppy, a baby dog. We've been together ever since." "And what does it provide in return for your care?" Jeho thought for a moment. "Friendship, comfort. When I come home from work, he's always happy to see me. When I'm sad, he seems to know and stays close." "But no practical purpose," pressed the commander. "Does everything need a practical purpose?" asked Sunmei. Znexel was taking notes rapidly. "Our observations suggest this relationship produces positive emotional states in both the human and canine. This could be seen as a health benefit." Jeho nodded. "Studies show people with pets often live longer, happier lives." As they talked, Buddy got up and brought a ball to Jeho, dropping it at his feet. "He wants to play," explained Jeho. "Would you like to see?" He took the group to the backyard. Jeho threw the ball, and Buddy raced after it, returning it with his tail wagging. "He retrieves objects for you?" asked Commander Clickstar. "That seems useful." "It's just a game," said Jeho. "He enjoys it." Znexel watched closely. "The animal anticipates your actions and responds accordingly. There is communication between you, non-verbal, but clear." "That's right," said Jeho. "We understand each other." "And all humans have these companions?" asked the commander. "Not all, but many do," said Sunmei. "Dogs are popular because they're loyal and affectionate, but there are other pets too." "Like cats," added Jeho. "My neighbor Tawu has a cat. They're quite different from dogs." "Different how?" asked Znexel, her interest clearly piqued. Jeho and Sunmai exchanged knowing looks. "That," said Jeho with a smile, "is something you have to see for yourself." The next day, the aliens met again with Jeho and Sunmai at the government building. The morning was spent discussing Earth politics and culture, but Commander Clickstar seemed distracted. "I have been thinking about these companion animals," he finally said during a break. "You mentioned another type yesterday. Cats, I believe." Jeho nodded. Yes, cats are another common pet on Earth, very different from dogs. Snexel leaned forward eagerly. Different in what way? Do they serve another function? Sun Mei tried to hide her smile. Cats don't really serve any function. At least, not one they would admit to. The aliens looked confused. Snexel tilted her head. I don't understand. Cats are more independent, explained Jio. Dogs were bred to work with humans. Cats just decided to live near us because it was convenient for them. And humans accept this arrangement? Asked Commander Clickstar. Not only accept it, said Sunma. We love them for it. The commander made a strange sound that his translator didn't catch. This seems illogical. Why keep a companion that does not wish to be companions? Jaiho thought for a moment. It's hard to explain. You really need to meet a cat to understand. My neighbor Tawu has a cat named Midnight, Jaiho continued. Perhaps we could visit after our meetings today. The aliens quickly agreed, clearly curious about these strange companions. That afternoon, after sending a message to Tawu, Jaiho led the small group to his neighbor's apartment building. As they rode the elevator, Snexel consulted her datapad. I have been researching cats since yesterday, she said. They are small predators of the Felida family, domesticated approximately 10,000 Earth years ago. That's right, said Jio. Though some would argue they're not fully domesticated even now. The elevator doors opened, and they walked down the hall to Ta Wu's door. A young man with glasses and a friendly smile greeted them. Welcome, said Ta Wu, bowing to the aliens. Jaiho told me you're interested in meeting Midnight. The aliens followed Ta Wu into his apartment. It was modern and neat, with tall shelves and platforms built into the walls. Commander Clickstar looked around. Where is this cat? He asked. Ta Wu smiled. Midnight is around. Cats don't come when called like dogs do. She'll appear when she's ready. Snexel scanned the room with her device. I detect a small life form above us. Everyone looked up. On top of a tall bookshelf, two green eyes stared down at them. The black cat was so still and silent that the humans hadn't even noticed her. There she is, said Ta Wu calmly, watching us. Commander Clickstar shifted uncomfortably. It is observing us. Judging us, corrected Sunmai with a small laugh. The alien seemed unsettled by the cat's unblinking stare. Please, sit down, said Ta Wu, gesturing to the couch. Would anyone like tea? As they sat and talked, Snexel kept glancing up at the cat. Midnight hadn't moved, her eyes still fixed on the visitors. Does it always watch like this? Asked the xenobiologist. Cats are curious, said Ta Wu, and cautious with strangers. How long have you had this animal? Asked Commander Clickstar. 3 years, said Ta Wu. I found her as a stray and brought her home. It took weeks before she would let me pet her. And now? Asked Snexel. Now we understand each other, Ta Wu said with a smile. She's affectionate on her terms. Commander Clickstar frowned. This does not sound like the companionship we observed with the dog. It's different, agreed Jio. But many humans prefer cats exactly because of their independence. Our research indicates cats retain most of their predatory instincts, said Snexel. Is this correct? Before Ta Wu could answer, Midnight suddenly moved. In one fluid motion, she leaped from the bookshelf to a lower shelf, then to the floor, making almost no sound. The aliens jumped in surprise. Yes, said Ta Wu, watching as Midnight slipped under the couch. Out of sight. They're still very much hunters at heart. And tomorrow, said Jaiho with a mysterious smile, you'll see exactly what that means. The next day, the aliens returned to Ta Wu's apartment. Overnight, they had studied all available information about cats. Commander Clickstar looked nervous as they rode the elevator. These cats kill billions of small animals each year on your planet, he said to Jaiho. Yet humans invite them into their homes, to sleep near them. That's true, said Jaiho. But domestic cats are much smaller than humans. They're not a threat to us. Usually, added Sunmai with a small smile. When they arrived, Tawu welcomed them with hot tea. The apartment looked the same as yesterday, but there was no sign of Midnight. "Where is the cat today?" asked Snexel, scanning the room with her device. "She's around," said Tawu calmly. "Probably watching us right now." Commander Clickstar looked around nervously. "Watching? From where?" Tawu shrugged. "Cats are good at hiding. She'll come out when she wants to." They sat down and began talking about Earth culture. Snexel asked many questions about how humans and cats first began living together. Tawu explained how cats had started living near humans thousands of years ago to hunt mice in grain stores. "So they began as pest control," said Commander Clickstar, seeming relieved. "That makes more sense." "Yes, but that's not why most people have cats today," said Tawu. "We keep them because we enjoy their company." As they talked, Commander Clickstar kept looking around the room. He couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. "Is something wrong, Commander?" asked Jaiho. "I feel." The alien paused, observed. Sun Min nodded. "That's normal when there's a cat around." Suddenly, Snexel pointed up. "There." Everyone looked up to see Midnight perched on top of a cabinet. Her green eyes were fixed on Commander Clickstar. "She's been there the whole time," said Tawu. "Cats can sit very still when they want to." "How did it get up there without making a sound?" asked Commander Clickstar. "Cats are natural hunters," explained Tawu. "They can move very quietly." As if to demonstrate, Midnight stretched and then jumped down to a lower shelf, making almost no noise. The commander flinched at the sudden movement. "Would you like to see her hunting skills?" asked Tawu. He took out a small red dot device from his pocket. When he pressed the button, a red dot appeared on the floor. Midnight's eyes immediately locked onto it. Tawu moved the dot across the floor. In an instant, Midnight sprang into action. She leaped from the shelf and pounced on the red dot with amazing speed. When the dot moved, she chased it, her body low to the ground, moving like a small shadow. The aliens watched in fascination as Midnight jumped, twisted, and pounced after the dot. Her movements were quick and precise. When Tawu made the dot climb up the wall, Midnight jumped nearly a meter high trying to catch it. "Her reflexes are extraordinary," said Snexel, recording everything with her device, "and her jumping ability, remarkable for her size." After a few minutes, Tawu put the laser pointer away. Midnight sat in the middle of the floor, tail twitching, looking around for the disappeared dot. "That was just play," said Tawu. "But it shows their hunting instincts." "You mean it can hunt more effectively than that?" asked Commander Clickstar. "Oh yes," said Tawu. "Midnight brings me gifts sometimes. Mice, birds." The commander's eyes widened. "And you accept these gifts?" "It's how cats show affection," explained Tawu. "They're trying to feed us, like we feed them." Midnight suddenly looked at Commander Clickstar. Her eyes narrowed, and her tail moved slowly back and forth. "Why is it looking at me like that?" asked the commander. "She's just curious," said Tawu. "Don't worry." But Commander Clickstar did worry. He had studied Earth predators, and he recognized the look in Midnight's eyes. It was the look of a hunter sizing up potential prey. He had no idea how right he was to be concerned. "Would you like to see more of what Midnight can do?" asked Tawu. The aliens nodded, even Commander Clickstar, though he stayed at the back of the group. Tawu opened a cabinet and took out several cat toys. He placed a feather on a string attached to a stick on the floor. Midnight's eyes immediately locked onto it. "Watch how she stalks her prey," said Tawu. Midnight lowered her body, her black fur making her look like a small shadow on the floor. Her eyes never left the feather toy. She moved forward one slow step at a time. "She is so focused," whispered Snexel. "All her attention is on the target." When Midnight was about a meter away from the toy, Ta Wu moved the feather slightly. In a flash, Midnight pounced. Her leap was so fast that the aliens jumped back in surprise. She caught the feather between her paws and bit it with her sharp teeth. "Excellent hunting, Midnight," said Ta Wu, giving the cat a small treat from his pocket. "The speed is impressive," said Commander Clickstar. "How fast can it move?" "Cats can run up to 48 kilometers per hour for short bursts," said Jiao, "and their reaction time is much faster than a human's." Ta Wu brought out another toy, a small mouse made of fabric. He tossed it across the room. Midnight chased it, caught it, and carried it back to Ta Wu. "She's bringing you a gift," explained Sunmi to the aliens, like she would bring a real mouse if she caught one. "You mean it hunts real animals and brings them to you?" asked Commander Clickstar, looking disturbed. "Sometimes," said Ta Wu. "It's natural cat behavior." Snexel was scanning Midnight with her device. Her claws extend and retract. Very efficient design. Ta Wu nodded. "Would you like to see them up close?" He picked up Midnight and held her gently in his arms. The cat allowed this, though she kept her eyes on the aliens. "Notice her paws," said Ta Wu, carefully touching one of Midnight's paws. "The claws stay hidden inside until she needs them." Snexel moved closer to look. Commander Clickstar stayed back. "And her teeth are designed for cutting flesh," continued Ta Wu, gently opening Midnight's mouth to show her sharp teeth. "Cats are obligate carnivores. They must eat meat. Yet you keep this predator in your home," said Commander Clickstar. "You sleep while it roams freely." "Midnight would never hurt me," said Ta Wu, stroking the cat's fur. She began to purr, a deep rumbling sound that made the alien step back. "What is that noise?" asked Snexel. "She's purring," explained Ta Wu. "It means she's happy." He put Midnight down, and she rubbed against his legs before walking toward the aliens. Snexel stood still as the cat sniffed at her. Commander Clickstar moved behind a chair. "She's just getting to know you," said Ta Wu. Midnight walked to Commander Clickstar's chair and looked up at him. Her tail moved slowly back and forth. Then she noticed something, a small shiny tassel hanging from the commander's uniform. "Oh," said Sunmei quietly to Jiao. "This could be interesting." Midnight's eyes focused on the swinging tassel. Her body lowered, and her tail twitched. "Commander," said Jiao carefully, "I would suggest not moving that tassel." "What tassel?" asked Commander Clickstar, looking down. The movement made the tassel swing more. That was all Midnight needed. In a flash, she jumped onto the chair and then onto Commander Clickstar, her paws reaching for the swinging tassel. The commander yelled in surprise. He jumped up, but Midnight was already on his shoulder, batting at the shiny object with her paws. "Midnight!" "No," called Ta Wu, but it was too late. The cat and the alien commander were now locked in an unexpected battle, one that would teach the aliens more about cats, humans, and the strange relationships between them than they ever expected to learn. Chaos erupted in Ta Wu's living room. Commander Clickstar jumped up from his chair, trying to shake off the cat that had attached itself to his shoulder. This only made things worse as Midnight dug her claws into his uniform to hold on. "Get it off! Get it off!" yelled the commander, spinning around. His translator device made his voice sound even more panicked. "Hold still, Commander," called Jiho. "You're making it worse." But the alien wouldn't stop moving. He waved his 4 arms, trying to grab the cat without success. Each movement made the shiny tassel swing more, which only increased Midnight's excitement. She batted at it with her paws, her claws now fully extended. "She thinks it's a game," explained Sunmi to Snexel, who was recording everything with wide eyes. Tai Wu stepped forward calmly. "Commander, please stop moving. You're scaring her." "I'm scaring it," shouted Clickstar as Midnight climbed higher on his uniform, now perched on his head. The other aliens pressed themselves against the wall, unsure what to do. Snexel continued recording, muttering about predatory behavior and hunting reflexes. "Midnight," Tawu said in a soft, calm voice. "That's enough play. Come here." To everyone's surprise, the cat's ears twitched at Tawu's voice. She paused her attack on the tassel and looked at her owner. Tawu held out his arms. "Come here, girl." Midnight gave the tassel one more bat with her paw, then jumped from the commander's head directly into Tawu's waiting arms. The jump was over a meter long, but she made it easily. Tawu caught her and held her against his chest. Commander Clickstar collapsed back into the chair, his uniform now torn in several places. "Are you hurt, Commander?" asked Jai-Ho with concern. "It attacked me," the alien said, checking himself for injuries. "The predator attacked me." "She was just playing," said Tawu, stroking Midnight, who was now purring in his arms. "She thought your tassel was a toy." "Playing," repeated the commander in disbelief. "It used its claws on me." "Cats don't know their own strength sometimes," explained Sunmei. "She didn't mean to hurt you." Snexel approached Tawu and Midnight cautiously. "You can control the predator with just your voice." "Not control exactly," said Tawu. "Midnight listens to me because she trusts me. We have a bond." "A bond with a predator," said Snexel, clearly fascinated. "And you are not afraid to hold it, even after it displayed aggressive behavior." Tawu smiled. "Midnight would never hurt me intentionally. She was just excited." He put Midnight down on the floor. The cat calmly walked away, jumping up onto a shelf as if nothing had happened. "Look at it," said Commander Clickstar. "It shows no remorse." "Cats don't really feel remorse," said Jai-Ho. "They live in the moment." "And you accept this?" asked the commander, straightening his torn uniform. "That's what living with cats is like," said Tawu. "They do unexpected things sometimes. They follow their instincts. Sometimes they choose violence for no reason," added Sunmai with a small smile. "But that's part of their charm." "Charm," repeated Commander Clickstar. "You find this behavior charming." Tawu nodded. "Cats are independent. They're not like dogs, who try to please humans all the time. Cats are themselves, and we accept them as they are." From her perch on the shelf, Midnight began grooming herself, licking her paw, and then using it to clean her face. She seemed completely uninterested in the aliens now. "I think," said Jai-Ho, helping the commander to his feet, "we've learned quite a lot about cats today." "Indeed," said Snexel, still recording Midnight's every move. "Much more than I expected." As they prepared to leave, Commander Clickstar kept his distance from Midnight. But before they reached the door, Midnight jumped down and rubbed against his legs, purring loudly. "What is it doing now?" asked the commander, freezing in place. "She's saying she likes you," said Tawu. "That's how cats show affection. After attacking me, it now claims to like me." The commander sounded bewildered. "Welcome to the world of cats," said Sunmai with a laugh. "Completely unpredictable, but somehow still lovable." Back on their ship, the aliens gathered in the meeting room. Commander Clickstar had changed his torn uniform, but he still looked shaken by his encounter with Midnight. The room's walls displayed images and data about Earth's domestic animals, focusing on cats. "I never expected such danger from a simple observation mission," said the commander, touching his shoulder where Midnight's claws had caught him. Snexel was reviewing the recording she had made. "The incident was unfortunate, Commander, but the data we collected is fascinating." "Fascinating," repeated Clickstar. "That predator attacked me." "It was playing, according to the humans," said Snexel. "And look at these readings." She projected a hologram showing Midnight's body during the attack. "The cat's hunting instincts were activated, but it was not trying to harm you. Its claws were only partially extended." "That doesn't comfort me," said the commander. Another alien scientist, Dr. Mextol, joined the conversation. "I've been analyzing the biological and historical data we collected on cats. They're remarkable creatures." "How so?" asked Clickstar. Unlike dogs, cats were never fully domesticated by humans, explained Dr. Mextol. They chose to live alongside humans when it benefited them. They maintain almost all their wild hunting instincts and behaviors. Snexel nodded. Our scans show that Midnight's brain and body are nearly identical to her wild ancestors. She could survive in the wild if needed. On the screens around them, images of wild cats hunting appeared next to videos of Midnight playing with her toys. The movements were almost identical. But why do humans accept this? Asked Commander Clickstar. Dogs I can understand. They're loyal. They'd follow commands. But cats, they're unpredictable, dangerous. That appears to be part of their appeal to humans, said Dr. Mextol. Humans find their independence charming. The relationship is very different from what we observed with the dog, added Snexel. The dog, Buddy, wants to please his human. The cat, Midnight, allows her human to please her. Commander Clickstar shook his head. It makes no sense. Why would any species willingly live with a predator that could attack at any moment? Perhaps, said a new voice, that is what makes humans unique. They turned to see Chief Psychologist Ventol enter the room. She had been studying human behavior since they arrived. What do you mean? Asked the commander. Humans seek connection, even with creatures that maintain their wildness, explained Ventol. They don't need to fully control or change another species to form a bond with it. She walked to the screens and brought up images of Tawu holding Midnight after the incident. Look at this human, she said. He wasn't afraid to touch the cat even after it attacked you. He trusted it not to harm him, despite seeing its predatory nature. That's dangerous, said Commander Clickstar. It's remarkable, corrected Ventol. Humans can form deep emotional connections with species that retain their own nature, even their dangerous aspects. The aliens were quiet for a moment, thinking about this. It might explain much about human history, said Dr. Mextol finally. Their ability to adapt to many environments, to form alliances with different groups, to accept risk for potential reward. Do you think they would form such bonds with other intelligent species? Asked Snexel. With us, perhaps. They already are, said Ventol. They'd welcomed us despite knowing nothing about us. They've invited us into their homes, shared their knowledge. Commander Clickstar touched his uniform where the tassel had been. They've shared their predators with us too, he said dryly. The others laughed, a strange bubbling sound from their translation devices. Yes, said Ventol. And that may be the most interesting revelation of all. Humans don't just tolerate the wild and unpredictable. They embrace it. They find joy in connecting with beings that remain true to their nature. Tomorrow, said the commander, we will invite them to our ship. I want to understand more about this human trait. But, he added firmly, tell them to leave the cat behind. The next day, Jai-Ho, Sun-Mai, and Tawu arrived at the landing pad where the alien ship waited. The ship was much larger up close than it had appeared in the sky, with smooth silver walls that reflected the morning sun. Did you bring the gifts? Asked Jai-Ho. Tawu nodded, holding up a small bag. Yes, though I'm not sure they'll appreciate them. A door opened in the side of the ship, and Commander Clickstar stepped out with Snexel and several other aliens. Welcome, said the commander, raising his upper right hand in greeting. We are honored by your visit to our vessel. The honor is ours, replied Jai-Ho with a small bow. As they walked toward the ship, Sun-Mai noticed Commander Clickstar looking behind them nervously. Don't worry, Commander, she said with a smile. We didn't bring Midnight. The commander relaxed visibly. Ah, good. I mean, that would have been acceptable, but... It's okay, said Tawu. I understand. She made quite an impression yesterday. Inside the ship, the humans were amazed by the alien technology. Lights glowed along curved walls, and strange devices hummed softly. Other aliens stopped to stare at the human visitors, their large eyes blinking sideways. This is our main observation room, said Snexel, leading them into a large circular chamber. Screens covered the walls, showing images of Earth, its cities, forests, oceans, and animals. "You've been studying us for some time," said Jai-Ho, looking at the detailed images. "Yes," admitted Commander Clickstar. "We needed to understand your world before making contact." One screen showed a collection of Earth's animals: elephants, tigers, bears, and sharks. "Your planet has many dangerous predators," said the commander. "Yet humans have managed to survive and thrive among them." "We've learned to adapt," said Jai-Ho, "and to respect other species." Tai-Wu stepped forward. "We brought gifts," he said, opening his bag, "to thank you for sharing your knowledge with us." He handed a small object to Commander Clickstar. It was a toy mouse, similar to the one Midnight had played with. The commander looked confused. "This is a cat toy," explained Tai-Wu. "A symbol of our discussion about pets, about how humans form bonds with other species." The commander held the toy carefully, as if unsure what to do with it. Other aliens gathered around to look at it. "We've been discussing your relationship with animals," said Znexel. "Especially predators like cats. It's very different from how our species interacts with other life forms." "How so?" asked Sunmei. An alien stepped forward, introducing herself as Chief Psychologist Ventil. "On our world, we maintain clear boundaries between species. Safety is our priority. But humans," she gestured to the screens showing people with various animals, "you seek connection even when there is risk." "I suppose we do," said Jai-Ho. "We've always tried to understand other creatures, to form bonds with them." "Even when they attack you?" asked Commander Clickstar, touching his shoulder where Midnight had clawed him. Tai-Wu smiled. "Sometimes the most rewarding relationships require patience and understanding. Midnight may scratch occasionally, but she also brings great joy." As they talked, more aliens joined them, curious about the humans. Some brought their own recording devices, taking images of the visitors. "We would like to propose something," said Commander Clickstar after a while. "A cultural exchange program, to learn more about each other's worlds." "That sounds wonderful," said Jai-Ho. "And," added the commander hesitantly, "perhaps next time. You could bring the cat. Under controlled conditions, of course." Everyone looked surprised, especially the humans. "Are you sure?" asked Tai-Wu. "After yesterday. Your relationship with this predator reveals something important about your species," said Ventil. "Something we wish to understand better." "The cat will be welcome," confirmed Commander Clickstar, though he didn't sound entirely comfortable with the idea, "as are all Earth's companion animals." Tai-Wu smiled. "Midnight would be honored, though I can't promise she'll behave." "We wouldn't expect her to," said Znexel. "That's what makes her a cat." 1 month later, the Ardoxian High Council gathered in their grand meeting chamber on their home planet. The walls glowed with soft blue light as the 12 council members sat in a circle, waiting for Commander Clickstar's report. "Show us what you have learned about these humans," said High Counselor Nexal, the oldest and wisest of the Ardoxians. Commander Clickstar stepped forward, looking much more confident than he had after his encounter with Midnight. He activated a hologram in the center of the room, showing Earth spinning slowly. "Humans are unlike any species we have encountered before," he began. "They have achieved remarkable progress despite their short history. But their most unique trait is something we did not expect to find." The hologram changed to show images of humans with various animals: farmers with horses, families with dogs, children with rabbits, and Tai-Wu with Midnight. "Humans form deep bonds with other species," explained Clickstar. "Not just for food or labor, but for emotional connection. They welcome other creatures into their homes and lives, even predators that maintain their wild nature." "This seems irrational," said one council member. "Why expose oneself to potential danger?" "That was my first thought as well," admitted Clickstar, touching his shoulder where Midnight had clawed him. The gesture made some council members exchange knowing looks, They had all read about the incident. Chief Psychologist Ventil stepped forward. This trait reveals something profound about humans. They do not need to control or dominate other species to form connections with them. They accept and even value the differences. The hologram showed Jiho playing with his dog buddy, then changed to Ta-Wu calmly holding Midnight after she had attacked the commander. Humans can maintain bonds even when there is risk, continued Ventil. They can forgive, adapt, and find joy in relationships that are not perfect or predictable. How does this benefit them? Asked another council member. Snexel joined the presentation. Our research suggests this ability has helped humans survive and thrive on their challenging planet. They've learned from other species, formed beneficial partnerships, and developed greater empathy and understanding. A hologram showed a timeline of human history, highlighting moments where connections with animals had helped human progress. Horses for transportation, dogs for hunting, birds for carrying messages, and many more examples. And what about this? Cat? Asked High Counselor Nexol, leaning forward with interest. Commander Clickstar cleared his throat. The cats are special. They were never fully domesticated. They chose to live with humans when it benefited them, but maintained their independence and predatory nature. Yet humans welcome them into their homes, asked the counselor. With great enthusiasm, confirmed Ventil. They find joy in the cat's unpredictable nature, its mixture of affection and wildness. The hologram showed Midnight, first attacking the commander's tassel, then later purring on Ta-Wu's lap. I have experienced this firsthand, said Clickstar, and many council members made the bubbling sound that was Ardoxian laughter. High Counselor Nexol stood slowly. What do you recommend for our relationship with humans? Commander Clickstar straightened his posture. Based on our research, we believe humans would make valuable allies. Their ability to connect across boundaries, to embrace differences rather than fear them, would benefit our galactic community. The council members discussed quietly among themselves. Then Nexol raised a hand for silence. We agree. Formal diplomatic relations will begin immediately. The old counselor paused, then added, there is one more matter. The human Ta-Wu has offered a gift. A kitten, I believe it's called. A young cat for our cultural exchange program. Commander Clickstar's eyes widened slightly. Commander, said Nexol with a hint of amusement, as our expert on human-animal relations, we feel you would be the ideal caretaker for this ambassador cat. The other council members tried to hide their amusement as Clickstar struggled to maintain his professional demeanor. It would be an honor, he said finally. Then it is decided, said Nexol. Let this be the first of many exchanges between our worlds. Perhaps by understanding how humans live with their murder cats, we too can learn to embrace the unpredictable, the wild, and the different. And that is how Commander Clickstar became the first Ardoxian to willingly live with a murder cat, and how humanity's unique bond with animals helped secure their place among the stars.